Nittany Lion Wrestling Club put on another successful event on Rokfin, but I'm actually willing to bet that less people watched this time around. And in this video, I'm going to tell you about the results of each of the matches, who won, who lost, as well as my opinions on the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club wrestling on Rokfin. Some things they did well, some things they still need to improve on after only their second event. So the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club, I mean, this event was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun on Rokfin, and the Nittany Lions actually won 10 out of the 12 matches, and with great matches between Nolf and Jenkins, Bartlett and Meredith, Verclaren and Zackrell. I mean, there were some great matches put on here. But I still think that there were some things that they can improve upon. The matches were great. I mean, I really enjoyed each of the matchups. And the Rokfin event, actually, they put on a higher quality stream, which is the first thing that I noticed, like, right away, is that the high definition quality of the stream was actually better this time around, which I thought was, it was something that they took feedback on and they improved upon. I don't think that that's necessarily what the event's all about. They don't need to have this crazy high production quality like some of the Flow Wrestling events. I know that maybe what they go towards in the future, but I think it was good that they were improving on this. Now, the one thing that I did find a little bit difficult, and I think that is not as good, is it was difficult to find this event. It was difficult. And it's not like on the front page of Rokfin. You actually had to go to live.rokfin.com. So there's like a separate URL to go to this event. And I actually found that by clicking around through a couple of articles on the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club Rokfin page. This is something that I think that needs to be improved on in the future, because I was talking to people and they didn't even know this event was going on. I don't think the marketing was as great for this event as it was the first time around. I think that the posters and things going out there were really cool. I think that those were actually better this time around, but it's just something that I wanted to know. But before I get to the results, I also want to speak about this. So I saw these posters going out for each of the matches that they were putting out and promoting on Twitter, and at the top of the giant poster they had, it said a taco versus grilled cheese production. And the reason I'm bringing this up is it's just really random. I tried to look up if this was like a marketing company that made the poster, and maybe it is, but I wasn't able to find the company. Then I was like, well, maybe they're just calling this event a taco versus grilled cheese production just because people were messing around or people were saying like there wasn't a name for this. I mean, I was saying there wasn't a name for the first event, so they need to come up with a name. They were calling it this for some random reason. I don't know. If anybody has any insights on that, please let me know. I just thought this was really random. Anyways, let's get into the match, in each of the matches and the results. So I was bummed that we didn't get to see Aaron Brooks and Nick Lee wrestle. That was kind of unfortunate that we didn't get to see them wrestle. They pulled out of the event. I think the announcers just kind of said that it was a little bit of maybe you got tweaked up in practice or something. Some early season kind of injuries. Not anything to be worried about, though. They'll be back before the season starts, as they said, by January. So these are the first events, the first 6 events of the night, which I thought were, a good way to start out the night, and I will have a little bit more on that, but just some matches to note. We started out with Barraclaw and Shoop, and this was a pretty good way to start out the night. Barraclaw ended up having a pretty solid night at the beginning of the match to start out the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club event. A couple other events I want to mention are the Verclaren and Zackrell. So I actually came into this match and I literally said at the beginning of this match, Verclaren is just a lot better at freestyle than he is at folk style. Still a great wrestler, but I mean, freestyle is really his forte. And man, did it show. It showed. So the match was actually a solid match. It was 4-3, with some nice takedowns from each guy, some blast double from Zackrell, and then it was 4-3 going into. There were maybe like 30 seconds left. Verclaren hit a beautiful feet to back move, and then he tacked him. He tacked Zackrell with there were 2 seconds left on the clock whenever he got the final tack. He was able to take him feet to back and then get a nice leg lace on and just roll him through to end up scoring 15-4, which was the final score of that match. In really great match, in great performance by Verclaren. I hope we see some more of that out of him this upcoming season. The other match I want to mention at the beginning of this was Srirachi and Skatska, and Srirachi looked solid. He won by fall. He pinned Skatska with the cradle. He pinned him with a cradle, and I mean, he was going to actually tech him. And before he even pinned him, so it was either going to be a tech or a pin by the time he took him to his back. And Starachi just looked really, really good against Skatska, an All-American. Starachi coming in now, going to be an incoming freshman for Penn State, and a redshirt freshman, I believe, is actually. But I mean, man, this is a lot of excitement for Penn State fans to check out. He's got great offense, great scoring technique, and to be able to beat Skatska like that was he's going to be a terror to be messed with. Now, before I get into the second half of the results, I want to mention that this video is brought to you by the Fanco Wrestling Shop. You can go to fancowrestling.com/shop to check out awesome gear and shirts, very comfortable, like this Fanco Wrestling Penn State inspired t-shirt, which I have right here. It's available on fancowrestling.com/shop. You can check that out, or there's a link down in the description below that'll take you right there. And let's get into the second half of the night, which was a lot more exciting. It was a lot more exciting than the first half. And maybe I'll kind of explain that a little bit after I talk about the results, why it was so much more exciting. But Beard and Balzac, it was a great match. And Beard, he came out looking really strong, came out looking dominant, and was just scoring on Balzac. And I mean, man, first off, I have to say, Balzac is looking huge. He's looking huge, man. Beard, he's kind of got that length on him a little bit more than Balzac has. But Balzac he just kind of mounted a comeback. So Beard had a pretty nice lead on him. He was just getting to some nice leg attacks. But kind of in the second period is where Balzac started coming back and just taking it to Beard. I actually was, I was writing down notes. I was watching this. I said, Beard's actually looking dominant. But then he started looking a little bit tired as we get into the second. Balzac mounted a comeback. He ended up coming back 10-9, just able to get the takedown at the end. And, it was unfortunate for Beard, but to look like that towards the end. I think he just got some conditioning to do, but overall he looked pretty good. Balzac just has a little bit more experience in him to be able to wrestle those full 6 minutes. And then we get into Kirkfleet and Thomas. And Kirkfleet, geez, oh man, he teched him in like 30 seconds. And Kirkfleet is somebody, I mean, he looks massive. Like, he's got some huge muscles to him. But he doesn't look like a huge heavyweight necessarily. Like, Thomas, Demetrius Thomas looked like a pit, he looks like a heavyweight because he is a heavyweight. But Kirkfleet was just able to kind of throw him around. He was able to blast double him out of bounds, get to a amazing ankle attack right at the beginning of the match, and kind of get up 6-0. But he ended up doubling Thomas out of bounds, ended up getting 4 to end the match and winning 10-0. He tacked him in like 30 seconds. It was unbelievable. Demetrius Thomas is nobody to scoff at either. He has had a great career, but Kirkfleet is the new dude in town. Another couple matches I want to talk about are the Bartlett and Meredith, which is, to be honest, it was probably my favorite match of the night. It was Bartlett and Meredith was probably my favorite match of the night because there was so much scoring going on from both guys. A lot of flurries, a lot of scrambles, a lot of just offense, which I think is something that was kind of missing in the first half of this event. But Bryce Meredith just brought so much high energy, and we haven't seen him on the mat in a little bit of time. But I love watching him get in there on the heavy heads, give him some heavy hands, get in there, wrestle him hard, attacking his head like Bryce Meredith always does. There was a lot of back and forth. I mean, at some points it was 4-4. At another point, it was 6-6. Just Bryce was kind of in control for the most part, but Bartlett wasn't letting up any crazy scoring. And Meredith's a multiple time NCAA finalist, so Bartlett being able to go out there and go after him, I think we have to take a couple things with a grain of salt. I don't necessarily know that Meredith's in the room training every day. He might be. I don't know. But Bartlett's in the room training every single day, and he's kind of the new buck, where Meredith isn't necessarily, I don't know if he's doing all of that, but he has that experience. He has that experience that Bartlett doesn't necessarily have just yet. And it was a great match overall. Meredith ended up winning 8-6, which was a again, one of my favorite matches. And as we get into now the RBY and Shelton Mack, which ended with a tech fall, RBY 11-0. One thing I noticed, he was wearing the Thomas Gilman singlet for some reason, which was kind of funny. I saw him turn around and it said Gilman on the back of his singlet. But anyways, RBY is so quick, man. He is so darn quick. Able to just, the word that the announcer used was pounce. He's able to just pounce right on all of his opponents. And that's really what he was doing the whole time. He's just so quick on those shots, so quick to score. And it's just so agile, just getting so quick. His foot movement is just so darn quick and agile. And then the last takedown of the night was whenever he went straight feet to back, and then he just jumped right over Shelton Mack, which was crazy. I mean, I literally said, "Whoa." Like, I freaked out. That was so crazy. Such a cool way. You got to check that out. The matches will be live. Before I talk about the Nolf and Jenkins match, the matches are available. They will be available 24 hours after the stream on the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club Rokfin, so make sure you check that out. And then the last match of the night was the Nolf and Jenkins match. And honestly, I don't think anybody necessarily expected this match to be competitive. Jenkins hasn't wrestled, he hasn't actually wrestled in many years. He's fighting MMA, and I don't even necessarily know that he's doing that every single day right now, but he isn't necessarily competing in a lot of things right now, where Nolf is. He's training every single day. He has competed all summer. One of the guys who has probably competed more than most guys in more events than any other guy this entire summer. Competed in Rumble on the Rooftop, competed in the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club event, 2 of them. And, has just had a great career so far, multiple-time national champion. And Jenkins, of course, another national champion, defeating David Taylor, pinning him in the finals, which was all like, I thought that was super interesting to get that commentary. David Taylor was commentating the entire night, and I thought he was just going to be silent the whole time, but he commented on some of the matches, or the match that he had with Jenkins and the growth that Jenkins had in his career, as well as David Taylor, and how they can put some of those things aside now. Jenkins was, he was competitive, I guess, to an extent, but he's just not on Nolf's level. I mean, Nolf is the guy, and he ended up beating him 10-0, teched him in the first period, and it was a good way to end the night. And the thing that I mentioned a couple times in this video already, that I've kind of foreshadowed, led up to a little bit, is I don't think that freestyle in these events are as exciting for people who don't follow wrestling. I think the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club is doing a great job by having these commentators, having David Taylor explain the freestyle rules and how they work. I think that is excellent. I think it's absolutely excellent that they're explaining these things that most wrestling fans don't even know, because they don't follow freestyle like they follow folk style. But as for a general wrestling fan, or somebody who's trying to get into wrestling, I don't know that this is the way to go. And maybe I'll make another video about that, explaining why I think that is, but just a couple of my thoughts on all of this matter. Now, again, you can check out the Fanco Wrestling shop, where you can get this awesome Fanco Wrestling themed shirt over on the Fanco Wrestling shop. Or if you're interested in checking out another video, you can check this one out right down below, and that will take you to another video. I also want to thank all my Patreon supporters for their constant support of this channel.